I exist. Starby. It is good to see you in chat again. Excuse me while I open my Dr. Pepper. It's probably going to ASMR or something into the microphone. All right. You know, the number of times that I say your name in these streams because of the music and stuff for the game and crediting you and whatnot, you'd almost think it would work like a Bloody Mary situation and I would have summoned you by now. And if this is the summoning, it's not very efficient. The last time I said your name was like weeks ago. Is this like the dial-up of summoning circles? Is that what this is? News travels unbelievably slow in the other realm. Yeah, I don't know that have you been in a stream since I got a VTuber model? I don't know that you have, in which case it's been like a month or two, because you've been busy. Yeah, he's got... Well, let's assume that these all work right now. I haven't used one recently. Toggles. Happy face. I can be annoyed. Make a heart face. Yeah, because his face isn't actually, like, rigged. We did the stray talking animation, so it kind of just does this little flickering thing when I talk. But we didn't do any facial rigging. We originally, Bella originally was doing facial animation, and then after I showed them the stray things, we went with this. In retrospect, probably needed a merger of the two because the not blinking thing is very unsettling after a while. In my personal opinion, it has a bit of a, it's not an uncanny valley, but it's, I don't know, he stares into your soul after a minute. If it's rigged up correctly, when I get like raids and stuff, the heart face is supposed to come on automatically. I don't actually remember if that works. It hasn't happened recently. I think bits and stuff trigger it too, if I remember correctly. And then I've got a question mark. And an error. And then I can charge. I like to use the charge one when I go AFK. I think it's fun. No, I mean, the face itself works really well for like the way it's designed. And arguably, given that his face is a screen, it doesn't need to have like actual expression, but the stare, the long, unblinking stare. Oh, what was that? Oh, it's my bot throwing emotes. I do have a throwing system. You can use points for that. And I also get pelted with things during raids. Oh, I want to see. I'm going to try something here and see if this is working or not. I'm just going to put it over there. I should find out pretty quickly if that's working or not. Okay. We're going into an ad break. I was kind of holding off for the first ad break before really getting into anything. We've got an ad starting anytime now. And I don't want to be like right in the middle of something when the ad break starts. Which day is your new debut, Starby? Is it Saturday? 28th, right? Okay. If it's Saturday, I think that should work. Wanted to clarify. PST to EST. I think that will be 3 p.m. I mean, in any case, if it's on a Saturday, that's much more manageable, even if it's at a weird time. You also planning on streaming for a while. Hopefully when I normally used to stream. I mean, again, it shouldn't matter because it's a Saturday. 3 p.m. during the week would be tough for me because at best I'm probably leaving work and I'm going to be in the car for a good hour. And sometimes I'm still at work, but like at that time of day I'm probably in a meeting or something if that's the case. So it doesn't really... If that's your new time slot going forward during the week, I will probably not be in them unless they're late. Like they run late. But for a Saturday, that's not a problem. And I don't believe we're doing anything this Saturday. You like my very not so subtle dubby ad? Oh, there it goes. Okay. So, let's see. I don't know what the last thing you saw me work on in this was. But I've been working on the animation system, and I've made some levels of progress. So trying to work out what your schedule will actually look like, but it's hard since I don't know what my job schedule will look like. Yeah. I mean, that's part of the reason I stream the hours that I do. Sorry, I was looking down. It made him freak out for a minute. Like, it's just because that's what works with my schedule. Theoretically, I could stream every day, but I think I'd be exhausted. Ideally, based on the category I stream in the most often being game dev, it actually, the times that it would be best for me to stream at, like the peak hours, generally don't work for me. So, yeah, so we've got the inventory system. That part works. We can pick up an item. It gets put in our inventory. We've equipped it. We can aim. The aiming's still a bit wonky. It's actually better than it was. I think the last time I showed it off on stream. It's actually relatively accurate unless you get really close to your thing you're shooting at, which I guess makes some level of sense. You can pick up ammo. You got ammo in there, and you can reload. There's no animation for it, but it does reload. Yeah. As long as you're not like right up on your target, it's relatively accurate now. And then these doors are still automatic. I need to get that interaction system, that part of the interaction system working. I've got some other ammo scattered around here. I made a shooting gallery for testing the weapon. You pick up stacks of ammo. Boom, 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 boom. It is actually half health. It'll go away eventually here. I don't remember what its health is, but eventually it just despawns after enough hits. Unless I've broken something. There it goes. So, the main thing I had been working on regarding the animations was the overlay system. Because the way the overlay system worked originally, different animations were tied to a system where I could like swap them out based on a status, and that was the overlay. So that was basically well, kind of that, but you effectively what you could do in game was change, where are they? They're like way down here. Change values in here, and originally they were all in this one drop down, and it was all the different weapons, masculine, feminine overlays, injury statuses, all that shenanigans, all in one drop down. What that meant, you couldn't combine two different types of animations, two different types of statuses. And so what I did is I kind of have divvied that up, and I've been trying to combine them in layers, and that's the actual system to turn different ones on works fine. It's the layering of the animations that's been a little bit problematic. Like I can hit this, and then it's not drastic because the posing, it's more of a pose change than anything else, how the character holds himself. And this is just a very generic placeholder animation. But like I can set a specific pose, and then I can equip a weapon. That's for holding pistol one-handed. That's for holding it two-handed. Rifle. Right? So then I could use, say I'm one-handed. I don't have flashlight programmed in yet. It's just here, so there's not an animation. Also, I realized my head is blocking everything that I'm talking about. So that's great. No, I'd have to move me. Like I don't have flashlight programmed in. I do have this like torch holding animation. So you can see he's holding a torch up in the air and would be holding a pistol by his side. Those originally were separate things. Now they can be in each hand. And then injured is kind of a tricky one. He was originally, the actual animation has him holding his side. But because of the way the arm system is working, that doesn't come across so much. It does, however, I think, result in a slightly different stance and like a difference in his breathing, which kind of helps. Gonna play with that a little more. But basically, I had to create a system. I had this state machine that had all the different animations in it, and I had to break it out into several state machines that can control the different statuses and have different ones added to it. So for example, the one it should be playing in here. Where is it? This is actually what that looks like. Oops, hold on. It's a bunch of single like frame animations, basically. Yeah, so that he sits there and he holds his side, and he's a little more hunched over. So there are some things where like that's not quite, playing the way I would like it to. I had to create this whole system because of the way blends work, which was a thing, blend masks, in order to blend the animations in the first place. But I think I've managed to kind of get something that is technically working. It doesn't let the animations fully come across, I think, sometimes, and that has some downsides. I do think it means, if that's the way it's going to be in the long run, if I'm not really able to resolve that, that almost means that the stances have to be more dramatic in order to come across more. But one of the issues I was having, which is in the VODs, I think, from last time, is that the merging of those effects would cause his arms to do crazy things, like point off in all directions. So, but one of the things we now need is going to be some animations for our flashlight. Because that is one of the things I want to work on next, is getting the flashlight in there. I do actually have this in here already. Which is for aiming around with the flashlight. And that would probably work for holding the flashlight in general. What I do want to happen, and I don't have it configured yet, is I do want it to be where if you aim with the flashlight, that it's going to, and you have the pistol in the other hand, that he's going to actually like hold them together. And that I think is going to be a little tricky to pull off, but we're going to see what we can do here. Specifically, this is going to have to be a tool pose. We don't have one in here for it, so I have to add a state. Flashlight. And these are conduits that will take it in and out. Transition rules. So in this case, we want the one that leads in, which you can compare it to these, is just checking the state. So we want this one to be tool overlay state equals flashlight. If that's true, it can enter this state. And if it's not true, it will leave the state. Oop, and oop. Okay. So that will get us in and out of our tool state. Now, the trick's going to be how we set it up, because we want to use that blend space. So if you're just using the flashlight, make sure that you're actually like holding it when you look around. So let's see. We're going to look at the pistol, I think, as our example, because that is something that the pistol is actually doing. Oops, nope, not in there. So our pistol's one-handed. So when we do this, our relaxed state, I'm not sure that we really have a relaxed state animation. And currently, right now, we have more of the ready state animation, I would say. That's a pose. Ready. Yeah, that's based on... I mean, we can do it with poses, I guess, instead of the blend space. I was thinking I guess the blend space is more about aiming. But even then, they're not using a blend space on this one. So that's, I guess, not technically necessary. What did this one use? Yeah, it's all like torch, secondary motion stuff. Yeah, shockingly no blend spaces. All right, so well, it's not even really a pose, to be honest. It's a full-on animation, so we'll have to see. Let me see, do I have any alternative animations for a flashlight? Let's see. Stance variation. That's the wrong thing. What about this one? Is this right? Okay. Looking at some of the placeholder animations I have, trying to see if I think they'll work. Alright, let's pull out this animation here. because that'll work. Assuming it imports, that should work for a combination if I need to do that, because that's, I think I have an idea of how to execute this. I'm not certain, but I do think I have an idea. We don't need that. We don't need any of the mesh for this. We just need animation. And I would argue that most of these flashlight animations are ones we already have for that. So that in itself is fine. How should we... Okay, let's look at this animation blueprint and check and see. Because flash. Okay, so I think a couple things are going to have to happen in the long run. We are going to have something to determine if the player has the flashlight turned on and this, that, and the other that we don't currently have. But I feel like in the meantime, we should be able... I wish I didn't have so many freaking things open over here. So I'll be honest, that part doesn't seem to matter even so much, because I feel like we can't do this part on it, because if we blend, let's see, what was the explicit time is 0.11? Because I'm just looking at this, and it's using this to blend a very specific pose from the one-handed. I gotta sneeze. Oh, excuse me. I couldn't mute in time. It specifically is blending. Looks like this guy. And blending that in with the mantling, which is fine, but I think if we, a concern or, I don't know, prophetic vision with it is that if we do that with the left hand for the flashlight and then he goes to use a mantle animation, he will do it with no hands because they will both be holding items instead of putting one hand down and stuff. So I think it's probably better to just let the flashlight be in his hand at that point and he just presses down and not use that. Hello, Chell. What is that animation? Oh, it's a whale. It's an orca. Okay, I see it. I was like, what am I looking at? It is. It's Kiko. A famous orca. I was going to say, I will pretend I know who that is, because I don't have a clue. I guess I'm uncultured. So I guess we need to do some one-handed states for our flashlight. He was the orca that used the fruit. Okay. I mean, I guess that should have made sense. I'm gonna copy these, I think, because we can rework them. But I think we kind of need to do the exact same setup for our flashlight here. Let's say... Oh, you know what I should have done? I should have just copied the state machine itself and then dealt with it from in there. Starby, if you're around, can you do a shout out for Chell? Exclamation point shout out. This is like the first stream you're in where you can do mod things. Because you're never here. Our schedules don't overlap well enough. There we go. It worked. I wasn't sure if you had wandered off. Totally could have done it myself. I was just taking advantage of the opportunity. Let's see. Michelle is a friend of Amber's, so that would be the best reference I could give you, Starby. We've played what's that game? Animal Party? Something like that? Animal Party? Party animals. Literally, it was the thing you got shouted out for. I should have just looked at that. That was you were playing it recently, so. Okay, so let's see. Does this have to be a additive pose? Additive animation type none, so no, presumably not. Okay, that's good. Flashlight that. So is that a duck stealing bread? That is an adorable emote. My wife would love it. Yeah, so A&M flashlight should be and I don't really have different timestamps for this because it's not a multi-posed animation. So I think, how many frames even is it? 189. It doesn't particularly move even, so ideally I would probably replace these animations. Well, I mean, I will ultimately replace these animations, but ideally I will replace some of these with some that are more similar even before I go and redo all the animations. I guess that we don't really have a crouched pose for that. These are gonna basically have to all be the same animation for now. And so for this, we're gonna monitor. I think the rotation mode stuff is fine, because that's still going to be true for aiming. And that's fine. Current state time. Current state time. Can it not? Oh, right there it is. I was like not seeing it for some reason. Current state. Let's see. between this guy and because there are curves on the other one that might be important. Yeah. I suspect this won't work quite the same because I'm not open this as a separate. There it goes. Okay. Yeah, you're not gonna let me just add a curve, huh? What if I want to copy that and put it in here? Yeah, it's not allowed. Oh, I guess I can do it like this. Enable or spine rotation. Spine rotate. No. What? Enable spine rotation. Okay. Right there. I don't know why I couldn't search it, but it is right there. Now I can, yeah. It probably won't operate quite the same, but that's fine. And layering arm L add, arm L, LS. Arm. Nice. And our... In this case, we need a hand L. Layering head. Pelvis and spine. Pelvis and spine. I'm probably not going to even worry about doing a lot of the actual curves copied over because they don't match this animation in any way. It's more important that the layers are here for the moment than anything else, because I don't want to cause any errors. We had an ad break. Save that while we wait. All right, we should be coming back from the ad break. I will take the moment to change the music. And while it's just one track, so I won't loop it for very long, I am going to let the game's music play for a little bit since Starvy's in the chat. I might have to crank the volume on that a smidge. All right, rotation mode, aiming, rotation mode, not aiming. Flashlight, copy, paste, paste. Will that work? I think that'll work. Would you prefer to be called Curly or Couples? Because I'm going to shorten that. Not that it's that long. I cannot see myself saying Curly Couples every single time. That sounds like a tongue twister, eventually. You prefer to go by Couples. Alright, I will 100% do my best to remember that. Because I have a terrible memory. So we'll see how it goes. Yeah, I guess it would still be that, so... I don't know that that's going to work, but we'll try it. Oh, geez. Hyper Bagel, thank you for following. That scared the crap out of me. Yeah, I don't know that that's going to actually work, but I'm gonna hope that it does. Let's see. Now the question is, if we change this to flashlight, and we'll have to also, we'll have to also change it here because we're not. Actually, you know what? We don't have to test it here. We can test it in the character animation. I fully expect this to go horribly wrong, so I'm gonna save. Because it could very well crash. Nobody asks and defaults to Curly. I mean, most people do tend to default to the first half of a username. Most people default me to Crimson, which is fine, and generally what I prefer. But oddly enough, there's several people that call me Strife. And then I can think of one in particular who, at least one person in the chat will know who I'm talking about, goes back and forth and uses them interchangeably. Which again, it's fine. I mean, heck, people can use my real name. My name's not public. I mean, my name's public information. Like, I've been on the internet long enough that my identity is not a secret. That's why I don't always even use the VTuber. Sometimes I'm using a face cam. Okay, so we're going to test this in here. And theoretically, if I change the tool overstate to flashlight, hey, it did. It played the actual animation. Now the question is, does he aim correctly? And that's going to be hard to say. Aiming. Oh, jeez. I created a monster. Alright. Alright, put that back. That was a thing. See how quickly things can go to not working at all? I have a suspicion as to what caused that. Jake Dubrowski. Jake Dubrowski. Borowski. I'm not even sure how I would say that. I suspect that our blend space here is the problem. I'm gonna change that. Can I... How far back did I... It was just a couple changes ago, right? I just want to go back to where I undid this, because we're in the aiming state, so I didn't do anything else after that. What's funny is that I took a game design class in high school, and I was top student in that class. Which is favorite? Huge potential did I go into? Probably no. Probably should have. Don't remember a thing. So that's the thing, though. Is so as someone who has a degree in game design, my first degree was in simulation and game design, and my bachelor's is in general software development, specifically web. But I spent time in a formal education for game design, and quite frankly, if you were interested in that as an industry, a game design specific education is kind of pointless. And not because you don't learn the material, but because, at least in the US, the schools don't standardize it, at least not last time I checked. So you go to two different schools, you take a game design program. They are likely to be very, very different. One example is I went to a small local college to get my associate's degree in game design. We learned a little bit about all the different fields, from programming to animation to modeling, all that stuff. We kind of touched on everything. Then, when I was working on my bachelor's the first time, I ended up dropping out, but I was going to a 4-year school that, at the time I enrolled and got my game design degree, they didn't have a game design program, which is why I went to the smaller school. So I went there and saw that they had one now, and I wasn't going to enroll in it, but I wanted to check it out. And all they were learning basically was programming in Unity. So it was like not the same. And I spoke to some people at some like job fairs and stuff at the East Coast Game Conference one year, and they were like, yeah, we don't give a shit. Have a good portfolio, like show that you know what you know, and get like a computer science degree or get an animation degree, depending on which side of that you're planning to go into. Don't get a game design specific degree. And thank you for the follow. I wanted to finish my thought before I interrupted myself, because the ADD would kick in and then I would forget. All right, so that's the mood. Well, that's pretty much how things work around here. I very much get distracted. All right, it won't probably aim or anything because we don't have the appropriate animation, but I don't expect it to freak out. In a house of 4, so you figure what you need, do it very quickly. I'm in a house of 2. It's just my wife and I and the pets, and I still forget everything very quickly. Get food before you forget again. Yep, that's about it. All right, let's see. Do we freak out again? So turn on our flashlight and set our looking direction to aiming. Nope, it freaks out. So it wasn't specifically that was the problem. That could be with the rotation mode, though. There could be something with that, because it doesn't do it with the input mode, with the desired mode. And here's the question. What happens when you combine these two? Okay, so it'll play those two together. Whatever. Lord knows what happens when I aim. Okay, so then what we need to do to really start testing this is we're gonna have to get a flashlight into the world, so that we can equip it. Let's see here. So, for starters, somewhere in my meshes here, I should already have what I was going to use for the flashlight. Let's see. Meshes, static, drops. It shouldn't be under weapon, but I might have stuck it under here. No. It shouldn't be a skeletal mesh. No. So we actually don't have a flashlight mesh yet. I'm kind of surprised I didn't put something in there yet. Okay, well that's easy enough to resolve. List this under tools because there could be others if things go according to plan eventually. Let's see here. It did occur to me, I don't know how long this song has been looping for. We only having the one track. Sometimes it just goes for a bit. Oh God, so sorry. That was probably way louder than it needed to be for chat. I fixed it. I'm sorry. All right, let me look at my placeholders here for a flashlight. Let's see, do I have... Am I gonna have to frickin' go to the Epic store for a flashlight? I could have swore I literally have like a flashlight system. I guess we'll check this, but there's like a 90% chance that it's not going to load properly, and I won't be able to check it. So, the Epic launcher is a freaking nightmare, and unfortunately, you have to use it for a lot of stuff. My only other hope, they did add the Fab browser or whatever to this thing in 5, which we didn't have before. So maybe Maybe I can browse and add it directly here. Auth credentials. Nah. Get mad at me for not being logged in? Is that what it is? Okay, well, at least you're doing it on the browser over there and not where stream can see it, so that's fine. Okay, I was already logged in there, so that's even better. Okay. Sorry, I had a weird Discord message. Alright. Alright, let's ignore all the AI garbage because I don't care. I want to go to my stuff, which honestly, there's probably garbage in this too, but I'm looking for... This thing's become absolutely just assaulted by AI trash. So let's see. I think I have a specific flashlight. Yeah, flashlight system. I mean, I just wanted the mesh. I don't really care about your system, if I'm honest. Survival? I remember there being like a survival mesh system. Meshes? Oh, I gotta sneeze again. I was able to mute that time. Whew. There's some meshes in these. Now that I think about it. They're like really, really basic meshes, but they would work. Let me just search mesh. Okay. Tools, I guess. Interesting. I could have swore that at one point or another there was a flashlight. Like a flashlight mesh. Melee weapons. I mean, I don't expect it to be with weapons, but you never know. Yeah, unless it was under this for some reason. No, those are literally just weapons. Okay, so it's not in that, which I didn't really expect it to be, but... Oh, hey, that's actually kind of loaded, maybe? Or is it frozen? No. Oh, snap. It's actually loading. have one of those projects in here somewhere. The classic one that's got the flashlight in it. Gotta be honest, it may not be registered in the launcher because I may not have opened it recently. Which is seeming like it's probably the case. Alright, that's fine. I think I know where it's at. That's in projects. Unreal Project. You have returned with food. What kind of food do you have? Good question. It's like a pasta. I mean, okay. It's kind of spicy. I actually like spicy stuff. My wife doesn't, but I like spicy stuff. I guess this is the one I want here. I should be able to get a flashlight mesh out of this project. My wife doesn't care for spicy stuff, but I tend to make things a little bit spicy. And so, but she usually still like, cause I can kind of tone it down. So she usually still likes to eat it. Oh, why you do this, you stupid thing? There's an older version of that project. It's in here. I should still be able to open this. Or is it, according to your roommates, you're a Latina, so everything you made is spicy, even if it's not intended to be. I mean, so I'm as white as the driven snow, but my wife says, you know, that everything, or a lot of what I make is spicy, even if it's like not very spicy. But her family also barely knows what a seasoning is when it comes to cooking, so let's see. Yeah, it's not in that, so I guess it has to be this other one here. Like, I definitely will, if I'm making something for just myself, I will make it spicy enough that I make myself miserable on purpose. Like, lips burning for, you know, extended period of time after I eat, and nose, you know, running and eyes water. You know, I've made this thing so spicy, it's like, you know, just torturing myself. Exactly. So that project should be opening. Is that opening? Yes, no, maybe so. Are you opening in the background? No? I definitely told it to open. Because I need the file from it. It's doing something. Because I need a mesh. Okay, while we wait on the mesh, let's get the blueprint created for the item. Because we might still have to do some other stuff for that. So, items. Yeah, so we have our item pistol. Pistol was based off of the weapon base, which is based off the inventory item. So in this case, I think we should probably make a tool base that would be similar to this guy, but for tool items. So let's make a blueprint class. Inventory item. Object. And this should be a P item tool base. Good mbot suggestion. Are you talking about what the bot said? Okay, yeah, okay, that was what you were doing. What exactly are you doing, and can you explain it to someone who flunks 6th grade math? So the good news is, what I'm doing right now isn't currently involving math, but also, I don't enjoy math. I wouldn't say I flunked sixth grade math, but I've never been interested in math itself. I don't care for math, and I still enjoy this stuff. So, are you asking what I'm doing in the very moment, or are you asking at more of a broader level? So, in the very moment, what I'm doing is we have so right now, I don't know what all you saw of what I had earlier. We have a few things that can happen in the game itself that are pretty standard for your survivor horrors and for Resident Evil itself as a game. So we can pick up an item. We have an inventory, much like in Resident Evil 4. We can drag items around. We can equip them. We can shoot our gun. Bang, bang. Pick up ammo. One of the things I want to do is I want to have a flashlight that the player uses, because there's going to be some really dark areas. In fact, if I walk right over here, because we're just in a test level, this is not a finished level. Ignore the magical doors. That's because that's not implemented yet. So like I have this area over here that's for testing when things are just absolutely as dark as humanly possible. Let's see. In fact, I don't think I've turned that plugin on, so I don't think I can actually do that yet. So we want to be able to have really, really dark areas where the player is basically required to have a light. So we want the light to be an inventory item. We want them to have to manage it in their, manage space in the inventory with this light. And it gets equipped to the player and they use it. Now I have a system for equipping items to the player. And what that does is it requires the item to be like an object in the code. And that's kind of what these little cards are down here at the bottom of the screen. If you look at where my mouse is moving, these are representative of different types of items. And so, or parents, like parent classes, because items can inherit things from their parents. And so what I've done is, in order to make things the simplest, I create a system where all items descend from a single type of parent. In this case, I have what's in programming terms called a class, and it just is how you distinguish one sort of object from another. And it's referred to as inventory item, and it can represent anything from a consumable to a weapon to a flashlight in this case to a key, and all that information in there is stuff that we use to determine how the item exists in our inventory, because you saw I could drag it around. Well, that requires me to know what slots on the inventory grid is it occupying, and that stuff is stored in that. But I don't want to have to program that every single time. Like, every single time I create a new item, I don't want to program it. I realize I'm talking with my hands, and the VTuber doesn't translate that. So I'm going to break the illusion for a moment, because I like to talk with my hands. So I don't want to have to program the item, all that item code every single time. So you create a single parent that has that information in it, and then are you able to interchange what goes in between each parent, or you have to delete them? No. So when you think of a parent, the parent can be created multiple times. There can be multiple instances of an object in the world, and they can all have different unique data to them. But you also can extend off of that, because if I'm making a weapon, the weapon may need information that a consumable item doesn't. So the weapon might need to know what part of the player is it equipped to. It might need to know ammo, but the consumable item, unless it is ammo itself, but then it might just have a quantity value that represents how much of that. Well, those two don't necessarily, like a weapon, you're not generally going to have a stack of pistols in your inventory in a game like this. So it doesn't need a quantity number. And so because you have these values that exist in one but not the other, I do something called creating dinner time BRB. All right, Starby. I do something called creating a base item. And so that's what I have here. It says weapon base, and this is tool base. And if I open one of these, you'll see it's tiny, tiny text for stream, but up in the far, far, far right corner above me is a small bit of text that says OMP inventory item object. That's the parent of this object. That's its parent class. If I come in here to say this blue herb item, which isn't going to be a real item in the game, but it was a test item I had, it also extends from an item. In this case, it extends from OMP consumable item. Now, consumable item is actually a special type of item. It inherits its parent is the OMP inventory item object. It's just a special type of inventory item object that you can consume, such as ammo, such as health, like a healing item. But you don't consume all items, so that logic for how to consume something and how that is controlled is stored just inside that object. I'm throwing a lot of information. Yeah, I'm throwing a lot of information. We will wait until the ad break ends. I'm not sure, couples, if you are in an ad break or not, but I pause for ads. So you feel very small brained. Don't feel small brained. I was throwing a lot at you. All right, we're back from ads. Don't feel small brained. I was throwing a lot at you. I kind of went on a tangent. The point being that I need to create a flashlight object that can be in our inventory and that we can equip. It needs a few different things. It needs animations, which we don't have all of, but we've set up some of them. That's what I was doing probably when you entered. And now what I need to do is I need to create the object itself as it will exist in our inventory. That'll include a few different steps. And then tie it together with like the animations and the light source and all that stuff that is going to exist in the world. And once I do that, then we can actually test the animation stuff a little further, because right now I put the animations in there, but there's nothing in the game world when I'm playing that I can do to trigger that animation to play. I don't have an item to pick up that would make me play the flashlight animation. So, but that's the shorter version. There's technically no math really involved in what we're doing right now. A lot of the math, the major math that would be involved in this process, I've already done. The shorter version, what I just said just now after the ad break, is the shorter version. I was going on an ADHD wormhole tangent before the ad break. Which, honestly, was still shorter than it could have been. So, it was a shorter version, just not the shortest version. So, alright. I am going to make myself disappear now. I ruined that joke because I hit the wrong button. I ruined that joke. There we go. Oh, hang on. I did it wrong. I still ruined the joke. There, I'm gone now. Okay. That's not a very well rehearsed joke. I don't do that bit very often. Are you though? You're not wrong. I don't really know. All right, so I need objects. This project finally opened. I need the mesh out of it. Which would be in here, meshes, items. Yeah. So just an export. That's fine. That's fine. I don't need vertex color or anything. No, that's important. Yeah. Let me export this as well while I'm at it. And some of what I'm doing a lot of times is on my other screen, so it's not necessarily visible. Because I have like 4 screens, technically. Do I already have the animations for that? Yeah. Yeah, I do. Okay. Don't save. And let's see here. So we can go ahead and import our mesh. Yeah, flash. It should import as a static mesh. Sockets. Okay, we don't need to be any textures, and it won't make any materials. Import failed? What do you mean import failed? Maybe that. That. Import. There it goes. There were issues with the import. What are you mad about? No smoothing group was found. I mean, I don't care, if I'm honest. I don't need it to have a smoothing group. It's not a finalized asset. Oh, we don't need nanite support. I can get out of here. No nanite support. Do not care. Nanite's terrible. What material did I put on the other props? Dev white. Wait a minute. Really? Is that not? Hold on. Copy. Paste. Aha. Show you what for. And save. Oh god, it's the pirate music. I don't want it. I don't want it. That one drives me insane. Let's see. So, now that we got that... oh, I need to import that other animation that I never imported. Side quest real quick. Import. I actually don't expect this to necessarily work because it was not designed for this skeleton. it's a single frame only, which is interesting. Yeah, middle metacarpal is the problem. So, I guess in a way it's a pose, but yeah. Anywho, go to my animations and go back to my blueprints. So, compared to weapon base versus tool base, I guess that kind of means that we need to set up a table for our tools, which I guess kind of means that we need basically this same information. Or at least some of it. Yeah. At least some of it. So the weapon data info struct. So that means we need to replicate this guy, but for our tools. So okay, and then there's some other structs involved. Our base info. We close that for now, as well as that for now. Yeah, we need the base info struct. That's gonna be this guy. So we need to replicate this guy. To some degree, some of this could be just duplicated. fact, it actually might kind of work. I could delete this and then just change and delete the couple things we don't need. Or I could not do that, since apparently it's going to be like, no, you're not allowed to. Weird. Notice upon watching you that this is just a, I'm going to do this or not. You know, you're not wrong. Things can sound really good in my head, and then they either don't work because I'm misremembering something, or because I was just outright mistaken. Like, when I thought it would be fine to... Yeah, let me implement this. JK, never mind. Like, earlier, when I thought that the animation thing I did was fine, and that I could just do this, and, oh, I didn't do the other thing first for the jump scare. I was all excited because my flashlight animation was working, and he was holding his arm up. And then I did this, and he... Well, not really sure 100% what's going on here. Like, it's his arm. That's definitely his hand up there. His head also gets very large. Yeah, that's a thing. You know, I thought it just wouldn't do anything and it would just stay in the same position, not it would completely freak out. Yeah, so I need this guy. Some base infrastructure. So this is going to be our tool mesh. And it needs to be a... Probably just a static mesh most of the time, I would think. I really wish there was... a value that could be either static mesh or skeletal mesh. That would be more flexible, but I don't know that they're gonna... I'm gonna do them as skeletal meshes, so I'll stick with static mesh. And then name, not tool name, tool name. And name value. And then our character attach socket. And our tool attach socket. Oop, helps if I spell things correctly. Do a rotation offset. That's going to be a rotator. And our pickup rotation, right? Yeah, pickup rotation. Yeah, sometimes what I'm doing here is effectively busy work, in the sense that like it's data validation. It's I'm entering field names rather than like doing anything particularly exciting. Um, I know a couple of the people who regularly watch like to just have it on in the background. Skip the end of that one. That one is always a little bit grating on the ears. It's nice and spooky, but it's always grating on the ears. I wouldn't say tools would need ammo, but I will go ahead and have an ammo drop field. I could see if I wanted a tool that would break, I could see using the ammo as effectively like a durability counter. So I think that'll be fine. Weapon type, weapon ammo check. Yeah, so I need a tool type enum. Enums. That's our weapon type. And our so then we can do, because I don't think I have tools listed in here already. Nope. First one should be none. And then, let's see, valid tools. Definitely the flashlight. I want to give him a wrench. I haven't decided if that's going to be, because it'll be a temporary thing. I haven't decided if it'll be treated as a weapon because it's two-handed. Well, if I give him a big one, I guess it's two-handed, but that's kind of what I was planning, is having him use it as like to solve a puzzle. It's gonna be like a limited use kind of thing. Let's leave the flashlight in there for now, because we can always expand. The thing about the way I'm doing it is I can always expand it later. And the enum value is expanding. That's only a problem if I rearrange them. Or, which I guess counts as rearranging if I were to put something above it, like add one in above it that brings it down. Because enums are based on numeric values, basically. That's kind of why there's a 1, 2, 3 on the icon. So in truth, like, we have a human readable value that we associate with it, but all it really cares about is the number for that field. So I guess in theory, if I wanted to be a masochist about things, I could make the, or I guess be more of a sadist than a masochist. I could make the flashlight use batteries. And treat that as our ammo. Yeah. What did I call it? Oh, I named it weapon ammo check. Duh. Shame on you, chat. You should have saw that. Should have corrected me. I named something incorrectly. I was clearly working in this tools folder and naming things tools, and I wrote weapon ammo check. Because, you know, that's what you associate ammo with. What? Not you specifically. It was... I like to take jabs at a couple particular people in chat that are probably lurking and not paying me any attention. Why would you do that? ADHD. Wasn't paying attention. Is the... Yeah, I know you're kidding. It's all sarcasm. Everything's sarcasm. Alright, settle down there, bot. You're shilling too hard. What did I just say, bot? You are shilling too hard. Jesus, back to back with stuff now. Yeah, it's this guy. This is our base info. Tool, base, tool database structure. Yeah. There. So then that creates this guy. I know that this is generally going to be hand L socket. I don't think I can technically do a socket on a static mesh. I don't think it's possible. But without a bone rigged to it, it's not a skeletal mesh, even regardless of the animation situation on it. Let's see, can you do sockets on here? I don't think you can. I can sure as heck select stuff. Oh, it doesn't like that. Alright, it's not a fan of that. Modeling tools. Oh wait, socket manager, right here. I can. Okay. Yeah, let's make an attach socket. And we want that. I think that's where it's going to put the hand on the weapon, I believe. Blech. So we'll put that there, and then it's not a barrel, but I'm going to call it that. That's what we do it on the weapons. And I'm going to use that to determine where to put the light source on this guy. Okay, so now we need our stats info. That's gonna be this guy. Stats info struct. Okay. About to have another ad break. Alright, go ahead, Bezos, run your ad. Alright, we should be in ads right now. was off right. Let's see. Alright, that's probably junk, so I'm going to... ignore. Yeah, that'll be fine. Alright, we should be back from ads. I was addressing a weird spam message that I appeared to have received. But that all appears to be good. And boy, this thing's just the slowest thing in the world. Come on. Alright. While I wait on that, reopen this. So some of this stuff we don't necessarily need. Yeah, okay, so that looks all fine. Sorry, I had to do a little bit of housekeeping there for a second. Alright. So... the values in this... we don't need a firing type or firing mode. I'm trying to think about the slot situation. Because... I guess that's technically... where I would want to put this is I would want to treat it like it is in a weapon slot. We may as well call it a weapon slot because it's the same system. Right? Because, like, that'd be fine. And then the not using ammo. I guess that's not that value though. It's a separate thing. Yeah, I can make an enum for that. I don't really know that I should have them use use ammo. I don't really know what kind of tool, strictly speaking, would use ammo. The best use case I could think of for it. I'm trying to like future proof by doing it this way in case I get the idea later. And the best use case I could think of would be, oh, where do the like batteries for the flashlight, but I don't know, making the player deal with batteries could be very unfun. It kind of depends on how it's executed. Like, I'll play around with the idea because it could be interesting. It would definitely keep resources tighter. But if I go that route, I can't create too many areas where the flashlight is effectively required to progress. I would have to create some kind of alternative for lighting up the area or something. A trade-off. Which, I mean, in itself, I guess, could be interesting. If you were to consider it as a, let me think. If you were to consider it as a balancing act, I could do something where, like, you have an area you go into and it's really dark. You kind of have to have a light source to see. Or you have a thing you can do, a puzzle you can solve or something that'll turn on lights in that area. However, it's full of light sensitive enemies. Would be one particular use case I could see. So firing rate is probably a thing. Um, I don't know so much about firing range or aiming range. Ammo clip max is an integer. Don't care about that. Don't care about that. Don't really care about that. Or that. Or that. Or that. Unique effect ID might be useful. I don't really see a world where a tool is going to have a damage type, but I'll go ahead and make it possible. Okay, and then we'll do and stats info F tool data. Oh, stats info struct. That I might have named that wrong. Yeah, it should be data underscore for consistency's sake. Nothing's harmed by me naming it differently. It's more of a consistency's sake for me being able to keep up with it. Instant hit info. I mean, I guess maybe if I wanted the flashlight to be something, like do something to an enemy. There it is. Instant hit info struct. Yep. Cool. Base damage and min damage would be floats. That's fine. I don't really think I need any of this because this is all shotgun related stuff. I mean, maybe the impulse strength. I, again, kind of don't think so. Vector 2D. Oh. 2D. There we go. You have returned. Welcome back, Starby. I am effectively doing the same thing I was doing when you left, I think. Which is data validation, technically. I'm entering data. It's pretty much, and structuring data. Doing really boring stuff right now. So is this a sign that I should see you in chat more often now, Starby? Projectile. No, none of that. As long as nothing happens. Because I would assume, well, and I mean, I guess if our stream times overlap, I wouldn't see you in chat, but because you're now in an earlier time zone than me, so I would assume you're generally going to be already streaming on at least some of the nights, unless you're going to just do weekends going forward. I know you were already talking about the job thing, so lock on target. That's player info. So I need the player info struct, right? Yeah, player info struct. Player info struct. Did I do something dumb and not? Oh, there it is. I was gonna say and not include it in the freaking tool weapon section. That would have been really dumb of me. Tool data player info struct. Well, you know, just as long as I don't have another instance where I go to shout you out when talking about the game's music and accidentally tag the wrong person because somebody changed their username. Got me out here shouting out random Russian users that never stream. Still not sure how that worked out. What? Who would do that? Can't imagine. Can't imagine. So I don't again think I need the lock on target stuff, but because I don't see a world where the tools are going to act as weapons, because otherwise why would they not just be a weapon? And like, you're not going to have two weapons equipped in each hand. So, but I could see a world where I make like the flashlight hurt an enemy or something somehow. And so because of that, I kind of feel like some of these values need to be in here. Well, my plan for Friday's stream, so Fridays usually being the gaming stream, my plan is to be playing RE9. Because that comes out this week. So my plan is that Friday night's stream in the same time zone is going to be RE9. So if you weren't going to play that yourself, but you're interested in seeing it, we'll be doing a blind from scratch playthrough starting around 7 Eastern on Friday. Because I know you do so well playing horror games yourself there, Starby. Amnesia is a different beast. Be nice. Well, this one's supposed to have kind of two different gameplay types to it. With, oh, what's the girl's name? With hers being more of like the RE7. I say first person, but you can set it in third person. Like, run from the enemies, avoid combat kind of situation. It doesn't seem like she's gonna... Like, she gets a weapon, but from what I can tell, it looks like she's not as confident using it. So, like, you're kind of... Or you don't have as much ammo for it. And then you got frickin' Leon running around roundhouse kicking zombies again. And somehow parrying a chainsaw with a knife, or was it an axe? I don't even remember what he's using now. Leon's... Oh, no. Is it going to be another one of those situations? We're gonna have to get the hose. Look. Don't you look me. He just did a good job, is all. I'm just gonna put I'm gonna put this out there because we don't know who's going to play him just yet. As much as we can theorize, you're not allowed to thirst after Jake's voice actor. Fine. Because I already have concerns. And let's put it that way. Material instance, right? Material instance. Though, you know, now that I think about it, I probably ought to ban you from thirsting after either of the primary characters. Because, I mean, I could think of a couple scenarios in which it could go either way on those two. And they'll technically both be playable at some point. Because I don't think I can function if that's going on. Like if I, especially because you're gonna be so heavily involved in audio. Like I can't be sending you voiceover work with that knowledge. Can't be doing that. What is that? Camera shake base. I think if I got my way in terms of the voice actors, which, I mean, let's be honest, the way things have been going seems like could work out. I don't think you would thirst after the performances on, at the very least, Jake. I'm not familiar enough with Hayden's performances, honestly, to say anything about. Well, and we don't know if Hayden will be the one to play Darla, but I've only suggested that to Hayden as an option, especially given that we need the voice acting for those two characters in the demo. I mean, ultimately, I did agree that Hayden's in charge of the casting. So, I mean, I guess theoretically I get final say, but also I should listen to a person if I'm going to have them telling me what, you know, giving me that information. So we are about 5 minutes to 10. We're basically just doing data entry, which is going to continue to be very boring for quite a while now. You're curious to hear about who Hayden is thinking about. Well, I haven't heard back. I know it'd be what, but still, yeah. I was gonna say I haven't heard back from Hayden since I sent that last message, but I'm pretty sure during their last stream they said they were going on a trip or something for a while. So I don't expect to hear anything for a bit. Also, just in general, I mean, being a professional voice actor, they are probably extremely busy. And we are a small little potato in that pile, especially at this stage. So, they did follow me back on Blue Sky from the Scylla profile, which they had not done yet. So I assume they're at least somewhat getting on social media. You know, the whole reason I took the conversation to Discord was because they said they were not checking Twitter. So... Anyways, yeah, so it's almost 10 o'clock. I have work tomorrow. And we're at the 5, like we're almost 5 minutes to the next ad anyway. So, I'm probably going to call it. And let's see who we can raid. Do we have any friends online? That's probably loud. I want to go in there. None of my usual raid targets are... No, none of that. What is this one? Loud. What is Mortimer? What is Mortimer up to? You know what? We're gonna give a small streamer a raid, like someone who's not even affiliate yet. We're gonna give somebody a raid. Cool. We're gonna raid Mortimer. They are playing Sons of the Forest. I was hoping for like another co-working channel, but I couldn't find one. So, not that I already know. So, I will be back on Thursday for more game dev. Around the same time. Good night, everybody. Thanks for coming by.